Trade-offs are one of those things that we have to just deal with as adults. It's just part of the deal that you aren't going to get, you know, all good or all bad. There's always going to be a mix, right? That's why yin and yang exists as an entity, as a thing, right? There's always a little good with the bad and always a little bad with the good. And when it comes to your choices for work, and for many people who are working remote or deciding to go to the office, there are trade-offs that occur with that. And we're going to take a look at a poll from Gallup today where, they did a global survey specifically talking with employees who are remote and, again, who are in the office, how they're doing, what they like about their work, what they don't, and really quantify the data. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. And what I do with this is in a second, we're going to talk about what I am going to be sharing this information with my clients, because there are steps that employers should be taking knowing this data and, again, quantified data. Again, for those who don't know, my name is Ryan Howell. I'm a business coach. I work out of West Michigan and around the country. And again, this is information I share with my clients. I come live on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, and I hope to earn your subscription. Let's get into this here. Link, as always, going to be in the description. Be sure to go check those out. Now, this is from Gallup. Again, they recently did this survey, the remote work paradox, higher engagement, lower well-being. When you decide you want to work from home and that's what you're able to get, you are trading off certain things, right? Because your engagement, you want to be at the house for reasons. Those people who want to come into the office, they're doing it for a reason. I remember after COVID when they say, hey, we need folks to come back to work, and back in the offices, it was a stark divide. It was almost a 50-50 split on who raced back to work for reasons and those people who we had to drag back because our work wasn't really supposed to be done remote. We made it work for as long as we could, but we needed people in the office. Now, a new global workplace finds, again, unpacks the complexity of leading remote teams. This is from Ryan Pendell. You can see the issues we got here. Now, globally, fully remote workers are the most likely to be engaged at work, 31%. And we're going to look at, I've got charts for all this. We're going to take a look here. But the big piece here is there's a state of the global workplace report. I'm going to put a link to this actual report in the description as well. Be sure to go check that out. Now, employee engagement measures the enthusiasm workers feel for their work and their attachment to their team and organization, and it directly affects team performance and business outcomes. Remote workers may be more engaged because they have more autonomy at work. And if you know anything from Drive, I got it right here. Grab it. I happen to have this right here. Doing it here live, folks. Didn't even think about this. You've got Drive from Daniel Pink. It's one of the things that he has on his how to build that internal motivation for folks is autonomy is one of them. It absolutely is there. It's the leading one. So you have more autonomy, you tend to be more invested at work. This freedom allows them to play to their strengths, reach a flow state more easily, and use their time more efficiently. This is what they're saying. So let's take a look at what it's got here. So remote workers are more engaged, less likely to be thriving. All right, so green is exclusively remote. We've got hybrid is this blue. Let's see how nice it on-site but remote capable, and then on-site non-remote capable, folks that just have to work there. So we've got, are they engaged? And you can see folks that are engaged, that the numbers are just higher when you're exclusively remote. Thriving, though, I would say you can see where there's the mixture is where they're doing better. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about here. Again, this is those people that want to work remote, work remote. Those people that want to work in the office, work in the office. But when we're looking at how well they're doing collectively, these measurements are important because business owners have a responsibility of understanding how their people are feeling and how well they are working, and to use HR in the appropriate way, which is to help those individuals across the board get to a thriving state. Now, remote workers are more distressed. Now, again, into the numbers here, right here. Fully remote employees are more likely to report experiencing anger, sadness, and loneliness than hybrid and on-site workers. So let's take a look at this here. Here's the numbers that they got. Again, it's the same thing where the green is going to be our exclusively remote, and then all the way down here, red is going to be just on-site. Okay, so stress, and you can see here, more likely to experience additional stress when they are either remote or hybrid. Anger, a little bit higher. Sadness. this is the piece where I want to get here: sadness and loneliness. See, right here, I would say this is something definitely worthwhile taking a look at here, where sadness and loneliness they do pick up some. Okay. Now, just before we get into the rest of this here, one of the things that why this information is important, I think that's a bigger question here. Why is this information important? For business owners, this is something that we want to make sure that you are engineering into your support structure within HR and the training that you need to have for supervisors of individuals supervisors who are leading individuals who have remote or hybrid type environment, right? We want to make sure that they understand and they are trained to approach the folks who are remote and hybrid differently than those folks who work on site. They have different personal requirements and needs and touch points, figuratively, right? And you need to make sure you train to that. You can't just expect people to figure that out. Like some of you've got to train to in your supervisor, and that has to do with empathy, right? And that's why this is important information. This is what I'm sharing with my clients. It's like, yo, you need to make sure that you, again, look at this data, understand what you need to do, and then let's train your folks so that they're up to par on that. Okay. Like that's a big part of this. And I really want to make sure that you guys understand that if you're a supervisor, you need to understand this information and adjust your perceptions accordingly. Okay. Now, physical distance can create mental distance. For some employees, remote work may feel like just work without the friendships, team lunches, storytelling, basically, the office, all the office stuff that goes on here. Okay. One of the things that they talk about here is, again, sharing meals with others is a strong indicator of well-being as income, right? There is something to be said for sharing a meal. I know for a lot of individuals, they don't want to do that. They just want to come in and work and be done. And the being around people bothers them. And I get that. I really do. But for the vast majority of people, having opportunities just to go and have a team lunch, to break bread together does do things to bring us closer together. It allows other people to talk. It's one of my actual favorite things too, by the way, if you're having a meeting and it's with people that typically dominate a conversation or it's whatever, I always try to schedule those meetings around lunch because they can't talk typically when they've got food in their mouth. So it gives other people a chance to join in the conversation. One of the little things that I've done over time. Autonomy can be stressful. Many employees want more autonomy in their work. While it can boost engagement by giving employees more control of their time, too much autonomy can create stress, managing time independently. And that's one of the things where I talk about that understanding of your responsibility as a supervisor with your remote team and how to help them balance, engage the effectiveness of their autonomy. I remember one time having to, this was when I was in the military, I had to have a conversation with the colonel. Was the next step up. We had some folks that were fired, and I kind of had to step up as a holding pattern and kind of take over the office while we were rehiring and moving people in, because we had to bring people in overseas, right? Takes a little bit of time. After about a month, I kind of just keeping things running. I went to the colonel. I was like, "Yo, dude," obviously, sir, right? But yo, dude, how am I doing? Like I'm out here running things the best I can see, but I'm not getting any feedback from you, and it was causing additional stress. So I and I realized I had to ask that, and he didn't even think about it because he was busy with others, trying to get a replacement for me. He forgot to be checking in on me, and it was an important piece there, right? And then lastly is technology can frustrate. We all know this one here, especially for folks that are trying to, again, got to dial in, or you have to go to the the portal issue, or you're having problems with your work computer that you have to have somebody remote, and all the things that happen, right? Instead of having someone right there that can power cycle your computer for you. Okay, and those are all things that come in that we just need to make sure that we're aware of, and that's really, again, that's what I'm coming back as an important piece for my my clients that I work with. You have to separate the two positions. You have to treat them almost completely differently. Not because they are going to need different touch points. Now what they need to deliver on, they can be the same, but the way that you structure them and you supervise them has to be different. It just has to be for various reasons. Now, the other side of this is that, hey, knowing that people can be lonely and knowing that they're not getting their daily dose of people time, as frustrating as they can be, they're not getting that dose of people time. That's something that HR needs to take on and work with your remote folks to figure out, hey, what if we were just get, hey, can we get you additional, a gym pass in your town? Is there, are there classes you might want to take? Is there something we can do that's going to get you with people in the way that you want to be with people? So that way you can get that fulfillment that we all need. That little, we're social creatures, whether you want to be one or not. That's the way our brains are wired. So we want to find a way to connect with people that are in our tribe, right? We want to have that piece. So that's, again, when I'm talking to HR folks that have remote, we need to find ways to be able to help facilitate that portion of the human condition for our employees that are choosing to work remote. Okay. So anyways, spend some time with this, folks. This is an interesting, it's an interesting article. The report is pretty interesting, but also, end of the day, the people are making decisions to work from home. They may have, again, for reasons, the commute, whatever it is, commute may be terrible. They may have kid things, blah, 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 whatever it is. Just because they're choosing to do that doesn't mean that we're just going to leave them their own devices and treat them the same as everyone else. There needs to be that understanding. And the same thing goes for the folks that are in the office. Understand what they need, deliver what you can. Let's take care of our folks. Okay. So with that, if you'd like to learn more how I help businesses grow faster than I ever thought possible, and I help business owners cultivate companies that are valuable and sell, go ahead and reach out to me at summitbusinessguides.com or just send me a note.